Hi, my dearest of family. I know I haven't posted a video for a while. I have been very busy with this PayPal and bank account issues and so forth. But finally, I have managed to put a payment method on my website. So now you can pay by Stripe and bank account. Unfortunately, it looks like PayPal will not work for me because they do not wish to work with me anymore. After 6 years making them money and so forth, they decided to cancel me out. So many people emailed me about, oh, I cannot book a reading and so forth. Now you can go ahead and check it out. Now, today we are going to be talking about an important aspect that is about to start. We actually have got a T-square going on in the sky between Mars, Pluto, and the Sun. And it is pretty intense until the end of the month. But the actual opposition between Mars and Pluto will happen on the 2nd or the 3rd of November, depending on where you are. Mars is pretty slow at the moment, as it is ready to be in retrograde motion. So before we actually dive into this, I just want to mention that now you cannot use the membership option on PayPal anymore either. So you have got two options. One of them is that you can go on the YouTube membership program. You have to be pressing the join button there. And then you will be able to get exclusive content, weekly forecast breakdown for the 12 signs, as well as webinars. I usually prepare about 2, 3 hour weekly material each Sunday. And if this is your interest, then please check it out. And the other option is that I am going to be creating a kind of like subscription account on Stripe, and then I can put that into the description below, in the description box below, and then you can actually do that as well. But there, I'm going to have to probably email every single month that link out though. And there's a reason for that as well, but I don't want to bore you with that. And also, I have got three really cool courses coming up. One of them is going to be sexology. The other one is synastry. And the third one is how to find love through the natal chart. So all three courses are actually focusing on relationship. I have been asked multiple times to teach about it, so I decided to put a material together. Now, finding love through the natal chart is going to be very much about looking at Venus and your personal needs when it comes to love. And also, we're going to be looking at the ascendant and the descendant and the ruler of the ascendant and the descendant. And maybe I'm even going to be looking at some psychological stuffs as well, so that you can actually clear relationship blockages. And by the way, I'm truly sorry for the inconvenience my website caused with PayPal issues and banking issues. It has been a little bit frustrating, but now the card payment is all good. So you're able to book your readings. Or I can send you even manually a Strike link as well if you do not want to use the website, but you're going to have to email me in that sense. And you don't need to be worried. Your bank details are not stored on my website. But let us look at this T-square, and we are going to be focusing quite a lot on that Pluto-Mars opposition because it's going to be lasting for about 7 months. So it's intense. So the base of it is actually the Mars and Pluto opposition. As you can see, Mars is on 24-degree Cancer, Sun on 27-degree of Libra, and then we've got the Pluto on 29-degree of Capricorn. So we are talking about a cardinal T-square. And cardinality indicates that there is a lot of drama, a lot of events actually going on. Now, what is an opposition? An opposition is a lack of balance. Too much focus on one side of the coin when the coin has got two. So we would need to be able to focus on both of them at the same time. And even though Pluto and Mars have got a lot of similarities, because of course both of them to a certain extent are a fighter, but still we need to be able to manage these two planetary energies. So for example, what is Pluto doing in the sign of Capricorn more on the personal level? It's trying to transform our own fears. And with Mars, we need to be able to remove those fears somehow. We get empowered, we get kind of pushed into a situation where those fears and blockages must be removed. And opposition can be uncomfortable, to be frank, because often we don't do it willingly. So we attract someone who is actually, I don't know, wanting us to punch them in the face. Otherwise, we're gonna get punched in the face type of scenario. And then Pluto and Mars is all about willpower. It's all about figuring out, where your strengths are coming from, and then being able to fight actually back. So that's one of the messages there. And yes, sometimes what happens is that because imagine that Mars is in the sign of Cancer and Mars is the soldier, so it's ready to be on the battlefield. But Cancer is a sign of home. So it's kind of like you are forced to be somewhere where you don't want to be. So how am I going to let those people know that I don't want to be here? I want to be out there and fighting. Also, this could really talk to you about thinking about how to turn your own weaknesses into strength. And I think that's important because at the end of the day, Mars is about strength. It's just feeling a little bit defeated currently in the sign of Cancer, being more like being in a fall position. So you might not be able to access your own strength and vitality and power immediately. So that's where Pluto is actually coming into the picture and kind of like revealing that you do have got the strength, that maybe you kind of laid your soul down for 2 seconds and, you're just going to have to pick that up. The principle behind Mars and Pluto is, often intense aggression that comes up on the surface. But because Mars is in Cancer, what could happen here is that you're trying to suppress it. It is not right to have anger and aggression. And of course, the Sun is in the sign of Libra, forming this T-square. And Libra is the people pleaser. So either I don't have the right to be angry, I don't have the right to be aggressive, I don't have the right to kind of stand up for my own self because I don't want to hurt other people. So therefore, the Pluto Mars often actually hurt people that are close to us, or we are going to be hurting ourselves somehow. And in a positive way, Pluto Mars is about accomplishing a tremendous and extreme amount of work. You can get it done if you want to, because you can be projecting this energy into something. And Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is work. And remember, often what could be happening with this aspect as well, that you are focusing again on one side of the coin too much. And Pluto in Capricorn might be focusing on transforming the business, for example. But then we forget about our emotional well-being, which is going to be affecting our relationship, Sun in Libra. During this opposition, it kind of can indicate that you are working towards a major breakthrough. You meant to be changing something in your life. Yes, this could indicate that you are tired of being dominated by others. And maybe it's your partner, Sun in Libra. Maybe it's actually a boss archetype. Maybe it's a business partner you work together with. Maybe someone is trying to run over you. And also Pluto and Mars together is about violence being brutal. So it really feels like to me that we are prompted to take action, to remove obstacles from our life, but there is a tremendous amount of desire to make our dreams come true as well. Now, it is in the political world because this surely will bring a lot of tension. It could talk to us about the changes of politics. And there is a sudden event that is happening and prompts us to make these changes very quickly because Mars is actually speeding things up. Something emotional happens that is prompting us to bring changes forward because Mars is in Cancer, getting us out of our comfort zone. And Mars is actually making a sextile to Uranus. So Uranus is actually speeding up. Uranus is telling Mars that things don't need to be taken too emotional. Let's just look at it from a physical point of view. That is telling you to upgrade your strength, but go and kick ass, basically. Maybe, it is not something that we have planned for now, but events are somehow speeding up and then you're going to have to take action right now. And because Mars is in the sign of Cancer, there is this karmic feeling to it. It's something that I cannot avoid anymore. Now, maybe Mars in Cancer is causing conflict in the family or in the country where you live. And maybe this is the reason why I make certain type of changes, for example. There is something that you don't want to make disappear. Like there is something that you want to make disappear in your family. And in order for you to do that, you need to see your own power. This is inviting you to be brave, courageous, feeling empowered to get moving, to lift our bum up a little bit, maybe to move out of a relationship, to move out of a partnership, to confront the partner about your own needs. Or it could indicate intense work issues. And it's difficult to leave it outside, and then you bring it home. And then this causes issues also affecting your connections with other people. So Mars is already in its pre-shadow period. And it is still direct, climbing to that energetic degree of Capricorn. And it could really kind of feel like that there is this struggle between something that is kind of like the unfiltered part of our persona and how the society is kind of like expecting us to behave. Because, Capricorn is the work and all these type of energies. So there are certain type of like expectations of how we should be behaving, and we can get fed up with that as well, though. This is an invitation to get connected with our darker side. This is an invitation to get connected somehow with that kind of like father complex as well, with authority figures, for example. Maybe there is something that we desperately want to control, and this becomes somehow, unfortunately, uncontrollable. That the opposition, the very first opposition, by the way, is going to be happening on the 3rd of November. And what I see here is that it is what, 2 days before the US election. So that election is going to be most likely brutal. It is going to be kind of like the mom and the father archetype are boxing big time. They're going to be throwing shit at each other, most likely. Mars in Cancer, which is kind of like we have got this demasculinated soldier, someone who feels suppressed in a way. And it feels like that I have to go sideways. I'm getting pushed aside. And that's why it gets kind of like, angry. it also it kind of like somewhere refuses to do something that they are meant to be doing. For example, like I don't know, I refuse to go on a stage and talk to someone and so on. That also pretty much kind of a feeling I'm getting with this. Not to mention that this could even indicate in a way that the voting is going to be delayed, actually, or it's going to be hurried up. This could also indicate to me that maybe there is going to be a assassination attempt around the voting because it's 29 degree and Pluto and Mars are extremely violent, and maybe this is one of the reasons why it really looks like that something like the hell is breaking loose really with this. We're also gonna have a second Mars and Pluto opposition, by the way, and that's on the 3rd of January. And but it's happening from Leo to Aquarius. So the narratives are slightly bit different, but it's a little bit of a freedom fighting. It's about an invitation to look at the humanitarian rights and so forth. But I'm going to be talking about that later on. So let's just focus on this one currently, because what is really happening here is that Mars is wanting to protect the nation. Mars is all about, what I'm protecting, which is mine, my property, my family. It's kind of like a mama tiger type of archetype. And then Pluto there, who is often maybe trying to strip the strength away from Mars. It feels like a little bit of a cannibal type of energy to it. And Mars is all about, you know what, I am ready to die if I need to. So it really switches on the survival instincts of that Mars. So I am not going to be suppressed anymore. I am going to be standing up. I'm not going to be vulnerable, and so on. And then we're going to have a final opposition, and that's going to be happening on 3 degree of Leo to 3 degree of Aquarius, but it's in April 2025. So, but as I said, let's just focus on what is happening right now. So as soon as Mars goes pretty much out of, goes into its retrograde shadow period, then we have got all these Plutonian energy happening. And also we have got this Aries supermoon happening also, which is really kind of causing also a big stir up. It's creating a grand cross with the Mars-Pluto opposition. Anyway, so we've got a lot going on. Take it for granted that this is a really intense time ahead. Um, Usually this is a 2 week long period, right? And it happens, what, every 2 years. And but this time around, as I said, it's going to be a good 7 months. This is all about who is going to be affected to start with. Most likely you're going to be affected now if you've got any planet on 28, 29 degree of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And then later on, especially if you've got any planet on 0 to 4 degree of the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Those people are going to be highly impacted by this. And it's kind of like, imagine the Pluto Mars archetype as someone is trying to cut you off of something, or trying to cut off your arm, for example. It's trying to take your gun and trying to take your sword away from you. Because Mars feels like I need to have that because I am a soldier, so you should not be taking it away from me. And Mars is fighting in the sign of Cancer to give the power back to people. And it could feel like that someone is trying to take the power away. That's why it becomes kind of like quite explosive overall. So something is going down here where it feels like that it's against any type of political decisions, it's against any type of humanitarian rights, even though we do not have, I don't know, Uranus or, well, Uranus is actually involved because it is making a sextile um, to Mars. So therefore it is switched on. So, but I have got a lot more to say about this, by the way, because I think I can talk about this for a really long time. And I will be breaking this down for the 12 signs as well, because I think it's going to be very important for everyone to kind of understand what is happening. So, well, I don't know what is going to be happening at the election, but it feels really kind of a little bit of threatening, or at least on a communication level, things are going to be sounding kind of, like they are threatening some big drama before the election or around the election. And surely there is a major confrontation with some type of dark forces here. It is an energy where, because as I said, Mars in Cancer is suppressed energy. And all of a sudden, it just comes out of me. And that's why I become quite violent because I cannot hold in that anger anymore. You know what? Even Pluto, which is representation of nuclear events and so forth, so I can imagine that this is going to be affecting the Middle East, and I don't necessarily want to be saying that there is going to be nuclear, uh, type of stuff going down. But I'm just trying to describe how explosive this energy is. So let's just go back on a personal level. It looks like you're going to have to be dealing with some very heavy burden, emotional heavy burden, and it gets triggered to you most likely by a second or a third person. And often it's kind of like you need to cry. You need to express those emotions. You need to be maybe just facing somehow, you have to kind of like tell something to your family about yourself, or you get to know a secret about your family, and that is going to be changing everything in your life. It could also be work. You all of a sudden get to know that the job that you have had for a while is actually closing down, going through certain type of intense and crisis situations, for example. And then that kind of like threatens you of losing your home, or you're not going to be able to feed the family. And yes, this could even bring in confrontations with your boss, Capricorn, because because I don't know, you need to be at home taking care of your children, and then they do not want to do that. They do not want to allow you. So there is a conflict, a power struggle here. And Mars can be very reactive this time around in the sign of Cancer, because that is, kind of like the gun comes out of your pocket because you feel threatened, you feel attacked somehow. And Uranus sextile is there, but it might not be helping much because it's accelerating that Mars, you know. So also, maybe what you want to understand in a positive way, because every single aspect has got certain type of positivity as well. Put this energy into your passion and achieve something. Uh, this could be a good day to start emotional cleansing, a new fitness routine, to run the longest, path that you have ever done. This is a great day to kind of like achieve a victory. It is really much boosting about your competitive spirit as well. Often Pluto Mars would like to kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Um, prove the point. And maybe it's something that you're going to find a solution for that has been an issue for a while because Pluto is currently, of course, retrograde. This is also highly sexual. So that could be becoming a topic for you. But maybe with Mars in Cancer, it's either extremely ready to fight or there is actually the flight response coming with it. So I am a tiny bunny. And I feel like I have to be kind of like going back into my own grave. Obviously, it highly depends on the other people you encounter with, how aggressive they are, who is trying to dominate you. Uh, Also, yeah, the competition part, which I already mentioned to you. This with Pluto, we usually need to be concentrating on something. And Mars' goal is to become Capricorn. So that's why on one hand, I like this aspect because if you concentrate on putting effort into achieving something, it's kind of like this Pluto Mars is not feeling the pain, it's just really marching forward. But if you threaten my kids, if you threaten my position, if you are kind of like using unethical ways of winning and so forth, then I become ruthless. And most likely, I can even imagine that there is going to be something unethical popping up around the elections as well, or at least someone is going to be pointing, uh, you know, uh, uh, to the other that how unethical they were. Yeah, so I think I mentioned everything pretty much that we need to know. Now, the intensity also is coming from the fact that the sun is about to move into the sign of um, Scorpio as well. So if we look at the modern ruler of Scorpio, which would be Pluto, if we look at the traditional ruler, which is Mars, now they are at opposition. So, of course, either way, this is just showing how intense period we are at. The Sun square Pluto, because, we have got a T-square, as I said, this week. The Sun square Pluto is very much shows unbalanced things because Libra is striving for balance, peace, and harmony. And it can feel like that I have lost control over something. I am trying to manipulate a situation to create that balance. Or, of course, someone is trying to manipulate us, and that makes us feel uncomfortable. And that's why we are ready to put the boxing gloves on. Maybe I'm trying to control my partner, but unfortunately, it's going to be going backwards somehow. Always imagine the oppositions as a scale. So we put too much weight on one side, it's going to be tipping. And of course, that bucket of water, for example, is going to pretty much, kind of get knocked over. So it really feels like that with the sun being in the picture, either we need to kill the ego, so it looks like someone's ego is gonna get hurt big time, or we're gonna have to kind of allow the ego to die. So in a way, what does it mean? We have to put our pride aside as well, though. And because there is a lot of scorpionic flavor, so it looks to me that there are secrets coming out. We have to be talking about taboos, and it's all about the all or nothing attitude. And both Pluto and Mars are signing up for winning, whatever the cost is. So, guys, this is the aspect of the week, which is a little bit, kind of like longer interpretation of the Pluto Mars constellation. And it is because what is happening, it is lasting for 7 months. I hope it helps. And I will be back very soon with another video. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye bye.